Hello and welcome to Sojipa in Porto Alegre, Brazil. You are joining us for the 11th World Championship of Men's Fistball. That was the German national anthem. German team coming into this one ninth. And Brazil do have many of the same. Two captains there.
They're much more lively, they're more mobile, and so fast. It's absolutely, they were perfectly up, but now we watch the first serve.
Great serve there by Jorge Schuch for the Brazilians, and the crowd really backing him up. That's the first point for Brazil. Good way to get the match started for the Brazilians. As you see there, nice shot. Kind of over the head. Hit it towards Jorge Schuch, took Jorge Schuch out of the play. And the number 8 spikes it down. The number 8 for Brazil, Paulo Sufert, Goose. Nice spike down there by Niels Panavig. Gerson, the number 6, tried to jump in.
And the Brazilians in the typical U formation.
And that player in the middle for the Germans is this one, the number 9, Myers, who sets it up for Panavig. Panavig with a good hit down the center of the pitch there. Nice setup by the number 8 for Jorge Schuch. Jorge Schuch aimed that one straight down at Myers. And Rainier, I remember the first match between these two sides. Myers was playing down the middle. Jorge Schuch would always aim at him. Whenever Jorge Schuch got a chance to spike or serve, it was usually at Myers down the middle. Germany ended up changing that. They put Jorge Schuch aims too much at Myers right down the middle.
And he can put it right on the feet, but here is Niels serving. And
number 5 there. Jorge Schuch on the ball once again. Serve down. It was at Myers, but it did pass him. Colby gets it back. Niels Panavig's going to hit this one over to the Brazilian section. Cristiano Velho saves it, sets it up. The number 8, Paulo, sets it up for Jorge Schuch, who slams it down. But the number 5 of Germany, Sasha Ball, saves it. Niels Panavig once again. Cristiano Velho on the save. Paulo Sufert Goose sets it up for Jorge Schuch. Jorge with a good spike down to Myers. Nobody could get to that one. Myers tried to save it, but he needed another player there. Kolb was trying to go towards it, and Panavig, another Brazilian point. Things here. Germany 2, Brazil 3.
Jorge Schuch, he hits it straight in his position. You see? He uses his whole shoulder for the slam down the line.
And he served that one right on Paulo Sufert, but that was a good setup for Jorge Schuch, who slams that one straight at Myers once again. Opening set, but Brazil ended up making a good point differential there, and Jorge Schuch was firing down at Myers. Brazilian fans in the background sending him some bad energy so he can make a mistake, but that doesn't happen. Cristiano Velho sets it up for Goose. Number 8, Paulo Sufert Goose with a spike down. Myers saves it. Jens Kolb sets it up for Panavig. Jorge Schuch gets it. Set up by Paulo Sufert, and Cristiano Velho with the spike down towards Myers. Jens Kolb sets it up for Panavig, who slams it down. Good save there by Paulo Sufert. And Jorge Schuch jumps into it, and Cristiano Velho plays it back to the Germans. Sasha Ball, number 5, set up for Myers. Panavig. Good spike by Panavig. Little mistake there by the number 8 of Brazil, but that one was coming at a lot of speed.
Now, this was a lot of tactics by the Germans. You could see they were pressing the Brazilians more and more into the defense to get their own ball right served up, and this put Niels in the position to really hit.
Jorge Schuch fires it towards Myers. Myers gets out of the way. Set up for Panavig. Panavig slams it down, but George Shuk shaves it. At least he took George Shuk out of the play. And Paulo Sufert slams it down. Jens Kolb with another setup for Panavig. Panavig with another spike down right towards Paulo Sufert. Good point for Germany.
Exactly the same tactics. They are putting Georgia out of the play, and they are pressing the Brazilian defense to get a good ball for Niels to really slam it down.
Udo Schultz, German trainer. Number 5, Cristiano Value there. Getting ready for that serve of Niels Panavig. And Niels Panavig serves exactly at Cristiano Value. Paulo Sufert with the setup. Gerson runs up, but it's George Shuk that's going to spike it down. Great spike down by George Shuk. Brazil 6, Germany 3, and a pretty good match so far. Nice opening. Panavig once again to George Shuk. He's aiming at George Shuk. He wants to take George Shuk out of the ball.
Yeah, this time actually the victor was the sun. You could see very clearly when George defended himself, he hit it high up, and his teammate just couldn't see the ball in the sun, so he lost out and he couldn't return it into the pitch.
That's exactly what happened there as we see George Shuk on the serve once again. A lot of Brazilian support in the background, but on the other side you do have a lot of German support. Sasha Ball with the save. Myers with the setup for Panavig. Panavig with the spike towards Cristiano Value, who tried to save it. Couldn't really keep control of it. It had a lot of spin to it. Nobody could get to it. Nice German point, and things are pretty close here. Brazil on 6, Germany on 5. Do you think 5 sets could affect the Germans? Do you think the heat can make a difference to them, or are they ready?
It could. They are definitely ready, but it could make a difference in the form. That's quite clear. That was a fantastic serve of George. He hit it right onto Myers, and he just couldn't bring it down. He just overhit actually, and the ball went into out.
Panavig with the serve. George Shuk jumps out of the way. That's Brazilian skill. George Shuk being really smart with that one.
Yeah, Niels Panavig, of course, is trying to take.
On the serve once again, Niels Panavig, who today has a goatee. In the beginning of competition, he didn't have one, so he let one grow in this week. Paulo Sufert with the slam down. Jens Kolb saves it. Myers will set it up for Panavig. Panavig runs up, takes the spike down. Coleman gets to it. Well, Coleman got to it. He tried to defend it. Paulo Sufert ran towards it. It was going out. It couldn't touch the ground. He didn't get his hand to it, but it went wide and went into the stands. This is the 11th World Championships of Men's Fistball. It is taking place in Porto Alegre, Brazil. The last one took place in Switzerland. George Shuk. Great serve there by the Brazilian. George Shuk sending it right down to the Germans' left side. Sasha Ball took a dive to it, tried to save it.
The ball at this angle is incredibly fast, and when he stays down, he probably has got a slight cut on it as well. It just doesn't bounce. It just hops along.
Niels Panavig on the serve for Germany. Taking his time. He fires it towards Paulo Sufert.
He fired it right at Paulo Sufert, and apparently the ball touched part of his body, and Paulo Sufert immediately indicated that it was body, and so it's a mistake, a point for Germany.
And we just saw a replay there. It seemed like it touched his arm, but in fistball it has to touch the arm. It cannot touch another part of his body, and the ref has a good view, so we have to believe him. We have to trust him. Meyer with the setup for Panavig. Panavig hammers it down. Cristiano Value couldn't get to it. What a good job by Panavig.
It's very dangerous to give Niels Panavig a clear serve when he really hits it with his brilliant round shoulder hit. It's incredibly fast.
And the Germans trailing Brazil by 1. Germany 8, Brazil 9. And George Schuch is on the serve once again. Serve towards Myers. German number 7, Sven Varnhorn, was able to make the save, and a nice setup for Panovic by Meyer. What a good shot there. Really nice shot by the Germans. That was really great. Panovic went over the net, brought that one back. No Brazilian could get to it.
Yeah, this is artistry at its best, to hit it over the net, onto the ground, and so that it bounces into the net. It's a dead point perfectly, and the score is 9-all.
George Schuch once again on the serve. Firing down the middle. Sasha Ball makes the save. Myers is going to set this one up for Panovic. Panovic jumps up, slams it down. Coleman was able to get to it. It looked like it was going to touch a second time, but Coleman was able to make the save. The game continues. Myers sets it up for Panovic once again. Panovic to Coleman. Ashley Gerson hits that one over and it goes out. Another German point. Germany, first time in the match, they move ahead of Brazil. Germany 10 on the serve for Brazil once again. Jorge Schuch plays for Sojipa. 26 years old. He is the forward, actually the attacker. Forward would be more of a football position. Sven Varnhorn sets it up there. Jens Kolb could make contact with it. Brazilian point. 10 up here. 10 Brazil, 10 Germany. Things have been close. I don't know. This set's going to go pretty far. I have a feeling we're going to go to 5 sets today. Niels Panovic on the serve. Serves right down the middle to Cristiano Velho. Player that's going to hit it forward is Coleman. Now you get number 10, George Schuch. George Schuch didn't really get to spike it down, just really pass it into the German area. Jens Kolb is going to spike it towards George Schuch. Takes George Schuch out of the play. Cristiano Velho hits it back. Number 8, Paulo Suffer. He hits it down. Sasha Ball with the save. Jens Kolb with the setup for Panovic. Panovic hits it down the middle. Gerson for Brazil to his brother Paulo. Paulo sets it up for George Schuch, who spikes it down right towards Myers. Great job there by George Schuch. He really does like to spike down the middle.
Yeah, you could actually see the Germans were slacking off a bit. They were not putting Brazil under enough pressure. And this is what you get if you don't fight hard enough. Gerson had a perfect setup and he could spike it down.
Niels Panovic once again in the background. We do see a lot of Brazilian fans. Always making noise for Niels Panovic. Could it make a difference? Well, it definitely helped Brazil yesterday when Cyril Schreiber was serving. Nice serve there by Niels. Took George Schuch out of the play. Set up there by Cristiano Velho, and Paulo slams it to Myers. Niels Panovic with the setup for Jens Kolb. Jens Kolb with the spike down, but Cristiano gets it. Paulo Suffer Goose sets it up for George Schuch. George Schuch, spike down. Great job, lack of communication by the Germans. Sasha Ball and Meyer looked at that one. They let that one go by. As we see there, the ball went between two Germans. Meyer looked like he was going to go towards it, but then he looked at Sasha, and Sasha looked back at him. Definitely lack of communication there. Brazil on 12 now, Germany on 10. Brazil needs 8 points to close out this set. Germans need 10.
Niels Panovic is on the serve. And it was nicely taken, brought up for Gerson, and well, he really fires it at Niels, and that's that.
Well,
another good point for Brazil.
Definitely a good point. George Schuch slammed that one down towards Niels Panovic. Niels did have a pretty good serve. That last serve, he did have a good spin to it. Fistball players do tend to have a good spin on the ball, make it spin back so when it touches the ground, it doesn't go too far forward. This is great fistball. George Schuch got out of the way. Nice serve by Gerson and a good setup here for George Schuch. George Shook hit that one right down the middle. Sasha makes the save. Myers once again with the setup for Punhobol. Punhobol looks, goes up, but makes contact with the net. Mistake there by Niels Punhobol, and throughout the competition, every team who made a lot of mistakes in front of Brazil ended up losing out. As we see a timeout here, German timeout. Germans are losing by 4 points, so they'll get 30 seconds here, each 2012 for Brazil. Second set 2018 for Germany, and third set 2018 for Brazil. As Jorg serves there towards Gerson. Gerson makes the save. Paulo Suford with a long setup for George Shook. George really leaves that one, but Meyer is able to get to it. What a great play there by the Germans. Jorg Mueller sets it up. Nice save there by Coleman. Number 8, Paulo Suford just sends it back into German territory. Sasha Ball with the save. Again, we'll see a setup by Myers and a slam down by Jens Kolb. Great play there by the Germans. Many thought that Jens Kolb was going to spike that one down, but he really left it where there were no Brazilians.
This was a very clever tactic. He really culled the routine slamming down the line. He put it nice and soft in the middle, and nobody was prepared for it.
George Shook on the serve once again. Could he fire this one towards Myers? Myers is moving around a lot when George Shook serves. Sven Varnhorn with the save. Sasha Ball with that long setup. Jens Kolb spiking it down, spiked it towards George Shook. Paulo Suford got to it, and Gerson just couldn't get to the ball. It bounced a little too high. His timing was a little off, and it is a German point. Germany 12, Brazil 14. Things are definitely close here. Brazil needs 6 more points. The Germans need 8 more points. Who's going to close out this first set?
It's still everybody's guess, but we look at George. He's serving.
George once again serves it right towards Myers. Myers jumps out of the way. Sven Varnhorn nor Sasha Ball went towards that ball. Great serve by Brazil. As you see that serve once again. A lot of pressure by the Brazilian fans. Jorg with the serve. Nice serve to Coleman.
No, unluckily,
touch it and the player can't. And every time the team that gets the point lets the other team serve. Jorg Mueller once again. George Shook is on fire. Really good eye there. He let that one go out. Brazilian point.
Yeah, both teams play on your team. You can't defend yourself.
Jorg Mueller on the serve. Brazilian pressure from the fans. Once again, he made contact with the net. Jorg Mueller, I don't know, maybe that emotion is getting to him. Maybe the fans are yelling a little too loud. But he is a fistball pro, so he can definitely serve for Germany. He's just making a few mistakes here and there. He has to get his train back on track here.
Well, I think the first set goes to Brazil, although there are only 2 points left. But Germany is not going to give it to them as a present. Brazil will have to fight for it.
Well, Germans are going to fight till the end. Nice serve there to Gerson. Gerson passes back to his brother, who sets it up for George Shook. George slams it down. Nobody can get to it, and Brazil are at 19. This will be the set point for Brazil. Germany on 12, Brazil on 19. Brazilians open up quite a big difference there. Great point there for Brazil. George Shook, top player of the team in yellow. The fans definitely like it. It is a hot day in Porto Alegre, and Jorg Mueller is on the ball once again. Served by Jorg Mueller. That one went out, and the first set goes to Brazil. Things were really equal till about the 11th, 12th point. Then Brazil started making a really big difference, and they started going ahead of Germany. Nice first set here. First set 20-12 for Brazil. And when the sport grows, we're going to have many more players, and players that could be top-notch. Serve there by Niels Punhobol as we get the second set started. Brazilians defending. And number 8, Paulo Suford, slams it down. Gerson gets it. Paulo's going to set it up for George, who's going to slam it down. Slammed it down the middle. Sven Varnhorn was able to save it, but the ball went under the net. It touched the Brazilian side. Great job there. And things are heating up here. Brazilian players yelling things to the Germans. This is only on pitch, though. When they leave the pitch, they're definitely all friends, but it's a final of the World Championship. What can you expect? The emotions are in the air. This is just a great match.
Yeah, basically what happened, Van Horn, the Brazilians were of the opinion Van Horn was hit by the ball on the body, and he didn't indicate it. But this is one of the things. It's so fast, the referee couldn't see it. I couldn't see it, so I don't know.
Paulo Sufert hit that one. Panavig with the slam down. Nice point there for Germany. The Germans on 1 point. Brazil on 1 point in the second set. Definitely.
What we didn't see is Niels Panavig went off. He probably got some medical treatment on his knee, and this is why the first set went. And this is actually one of the big problems in fistball. If you've got a specialist spiker, if he is doing all the work, all putting the pressure on the other team, if he is injured or not able to play, you've got big problems.
We definitely got big problems. And Panavig got served at there by George Schuch. He wasn't able to save it. It went really past him. He didn't calculate the ball very well. Couldn't get his arm to the ball. Niels Panavig, a specialist at serves. And in fistball, every player does have his position. They are specialists. Niels is a specialist at serving and attacking, just like George Schuch. And players like Sasha Ball and Coleman and Cristiano Velho for Brazil are specialists at defending. And Myers for Germany is a specialist at setting up for the attackers. And we see Cristiano Velho setting it up for Paulo Sufert, who slams it down on Myers. Great Brazilian point. I don't know, Brazil looked pretty good here. The vibe is good for them. The crowd is on their side, but the Germans also do have a pretty good following here in Porto Alegre.
What is Gaim putting the ball right on his feet?
It's definitely one of the strong points of Brazil. Players can move around the pitch and try to play other positions as well. As George Schuch spikes it down right towards Myers. Myers saves it, and Jens Kolb is going to set it up for Panavig. Panavig runs up, hits the ball with a little curve. The number 8, Paulo Sufert, gets to the ball as George Schuch runs, spikes it down. Lack of communication once again down the German left-hand side between Myers and Vig. Serving once again for Germany. He serves it. He tried to get a curl on it to get past the Brazilian players, and it went out.
We mentioned just the minutest touch is enough. And there we've got it, a serve like a softball in the middle of the pitch. This is the big problem of the Brazilian style of play. If you've got a specialist that can put the ball in this type of play.
George Schuch with the serve for Brazil. Long serve there. George Schuch on the serve, right down the middle. Sasha Ball jumped towards it, but that ball went out of the play. So a good Brazilian point. Germany 3, Brazil 6. Definitely a hot day. We do see a lot of the German players and us too in this press area because it's cooking up here. As the game keeps going here, Cristiano Velho tries to dive in and get the ball. And the crowd do have a lot of water going around there. They have a hose going and just to cool things down. Obviously that ball did bounce twice on the ground.
It was a brilliant serve by the Germans, and Georgie's in position.
Niels Panavig for Germany. Nice serve there by Niels Panavig. Nobody expected that one. That was a really nice shot by Niels.
This is ball control at world best. If you can hit a ball 3 meters wide and that it just drops over the net at 2 meters height, so that it falls down and doesn't bounce at all.
Niels doing a good job there. Now it's George Schuch's turn for Brazil. George Schuch serves it. No player could get to it. Niels Panavig let that one go by, and Christian Louvre really jumped towards it. Niels Panavig, the number 2, with the serve once again. Germany on 5, Brazil on 8. Brazil still ahead. Niels Panevig taking his time, getting his concentration. Brazilian fans making a lot of noise, so he doesn't have any concentration, but he hits that one towards George. George is out of the play now. Gerson comes up. His brother, Paulo Sufert, spikes it down, but makes contact with the net. German point.
Yeah, it seems to me the Brazilian fans over there, they really get dozed off with water. There's big fun, but actually the whole action on the other side is dying down. I think the heat is taking more of the spectators than on the actual participants on the pitch.
Well, the heat is making a big difference here. It is about 35 degrees. Hot day in Porto Alegre. Myers with the setup for Panevig, the number 2. Panevig hits it into the Brazilian territory. Jorge Schuch dives down, gets it. Cristiano Velho with the setup for Paulo. Paulo runs up, makes minimal contact, but Myers saves it for Germany. Spike down by Niels Panevig, and a great shot there by Niels Panevig. Niels Panevig just touched the ball on the bottom part of the ball. He got a cut there, got a good spin back. The ball didn't really jump forward too much, and a great point for Germany. Germany 7, Brazil 8. The Germans start to close down that gap. Great undercut by Niels Panevig. It's definitely one of the nicest moves in fistball.
He's a very experienced player that can change his tactics. George does it, of course, brilliantly. Here he serves one down the middle with an absolute perfect timing. It doesn't bounce higher than 10 centimeters, and nobody of the German defense is able to reach it.
Well, George has his own way of serving. He does a really good job. He either serves down the middle right at Myers, the man, the number 9 for Germany that sits up front, or he serves it down the middle in between the 2 defenders. And when he serves it down the middle, the ball really goes straight and doesn't get much bounce. George, top player for Brazil. Brazil 9, Germany 7 as Niels Panevig serves. Paulo Sufert makes a save. Cristiano Velho with the setup for Jorge Schuch. Jorge Schuch gets it down. Jens Kolb gets to it, and Meyer sets it up for Panevig. Panevig hits towards Jorge Schuch. Ball hits right on the line. Gerson sets it up for his brother Paulo. Hits right on Myers, but Germany's still in it. Panevig save, and Jens Kolb is going to hit it towards the Brazilians. Cristiano Velho with the save. Paulo Sufert, Goose sets it up for Jorge Schuch. Jorge with a great spike down. No Germans are close to that one. He had a lot of speed there, and Brazil get another point.
If you've got someone that sets up the ball so brilliantly for the spiker at about 2 meters off the net.
Niels Panevig serving for the Germans. Coleman jumps to it, makes the save. Gerson's going to hit this one forward. It's all up to Jorge Schuch now. Meyer saves it. Jens Kolb sets it up for Panevig. Panevig hits towards Jorge Schuch, who makes the save. Coleman gets his arm to it. And now it's up to Paulo Sufert. Paulo Sufert tried to just hit it over so it would hit into German territory. Didn't even make it over the net. Jorge Schuch on the serve. Fans in the background. Great serve by Jorge Schuch. He hit the ground twice. Jens Kolb took a run at it and a dive, but he couldn't get to it. Niels Panevig on the serve, and the Brazilian fans making a lot of noise. Right down the middle, Cristiano Velho was able to get to it. Set up by Paulo Sufert, also known as Goose. Jorge Schuch with a spike down towards Niels. Good spike down there, takes Niels Panevig out of this play at least. Set up by Myers to Kolb. Kolb with a hit down. Gerson saves it. His brother Paulo Sufert to Jorge Schuch. Niels Panevig with the save. Myers with the setup for Jens Kolb. Jens Kolb hits it down the middle, but Cristiano Velho gets to it. Paulo Jorge. Great spike down by Jorge Schuch. Brazil on 12 points now. Germany on 8. They're starting to open up that differential. Brazil will be looking for this win, and then we'll go into the third set, but the Germans also want this win. Niels. A lot of noise from the fans trying to really mess his play up. Cristiano Velho saves. Paulo Sufert sets it up. Jorge Schuch runs up. Spikes it with an undercut. A nice shot by Brazil. Went towards Jens Kolb and he couldn't get to it.
On this game, on this set.
Panovic serves towards Jorge Schuch. Cristiano Velho sets it up for Paulo. Paulo slams it down. The number 8, Christian Louvet. He got to the ball. A little mix up there. Germans couldn't defend so well, and it's a Brazilian point. Brazil once again start to make a good point differential. Brazil on 14 points, Germany on 8. Well, the Germans definitely don't have the scoreboard going their way. They lost the first set. They don't have as many fans as the Brazilians going their way. And I think the sun is kind of getting to them. The sun's shining down really hard here. A lot of the German fans are resting. We do see a lot of the German fans right behind the German team. In other matches, they were yelling a lot. Now, I think they're resting a little bit, saving it for the rest of the match because the sun is shining down hard, and that can make a difference for the Europeans. Great serve, though, by Niels Panovic. That one went straight towards Coleman, also known as Fufi, the number 2. As we get a shot there of the German fans.
Yeah, Jörg Müller came back on the pitch, and this was the serve from Niels, and Myers went out.
Well, Jörg Müller, another attacker and server for Germany, comes in for Myers. That's definitely an attacking move by Germany. Sven Varnhorn with the save. Jörg Müller sets it up for Niels Panovic. Niels Panovic hits it down. Great, he hit it down into an area where no Brazilians were. A lot of distance there between the number 2 Fufi and Paulo Sufert.
Now that's the only way, the only tactics that you can use if the defense and the servers bring up the ball right up for the spiker to have it within 1 meter of the net and high enough, 2 meters above the net is probably the best. And then he can do with it, he can actually really do magic with it. He can hit it any place he wants to.
A nice serve by Jorge Schuch. It makes it past the German defense. What a great serve. That one was right on the line. And Brazil move ahead. Once again, Brazil 15, Germany 10. What a great serve by Jorge.
This is not what he's going to do.
Niels Panovic with the serve. He hits that one towards Cristiano Velho, who saves it. Number 8, Gus Paulo Sufert gets to the ball, sets it up for Jorge Schuch. Jorge Schuch hits it towards Jörg Müller. That one made contact with the pole. Great job by Brazil. Nice play there by Brazil.
It's to a certain extent here a battle of Northern Hemisphere against Southern Hemisphere, and the new countries against the old countries, and this is exactly what is happening, and this is good. I'm one of the new countries as well, Southern Hemisphere, and it's high time that something comes from Southern Hemisphere so that the Northern Hemisphere realizes we are there as well.
And Jorge Schuch once again on the serve. These two countries faced each other in 1999 in the finals of the fistball. They also faced each other last year in the World Cup where Brazil won out. Good serve there by Jorge Schuch, but Jens Kolb gets to it. Nice setup by Sven Varnhorn. And Panovic slams it down, but what a great save by Cristiano Velho. And a good slam down by Jorge Schuch. Jorge Schuch take Brazil to 17, Germany on 11. A 6-point differential. Brazil on top in the second set.
I'm afraid the German fans are not very enthusiastic anymore. Where they are watching, of course, brilliant fistball, but they are not pleased with the result, that's for sure.
I'm not pleased with the result, as we see there. The Brazilian fans getting hosed down. It is a hot day in Porto Alegre, just about an hour away from the coast. And we do have a timeout here. And now Niels Panovic on the serve. Niels Panovic serves towards Gerson, who makes the save. Fufi, the number 2, passes it forward. Jorge Schuch is going to jump up and try to slam this one down. and that's exactly what he does. It makes it past Jens Kolb, and then goes to Sven Varnhorn. The Germans couldn't save it, and Brazil on 18. 2 more points, they'll close out the set. It'll be 2-0. The Germans have a long battle here. They have really a long way to climb up if they want to win the second set.
Now the Brazilians are at this stage at an absolute high with the spirit. There's nothing that can go wrong, and with the Germans it's exactly opposite. Everything they do goes wrong.
Niels Panovic on the serve once again, serving it really softly down the center, but a great save by Paulo Sufert. George Schuch took a really fast sprint towards it and then a dive, but he couldn't save that one. A good German point. They go to 12. Still 6 points of difference between the two sides. Brazil on 18. Brazil needs 2 more points. Will Germany let them get those 2 points? But now George Schuch on the serve. Great serve right toward Jens Kolb. Sven Varnhorn's going to set it up from far away to Niels Panovic. Panovic with a slam down. Coleman, George Schuch, and Paulo Sufert going to make contact with that one. Jörg Mueller said that Paulo made contact with the net.
No, he did not. He did not touch the ball, and this is what fistball and fair play is all about. He did not touch the ball. The referee didn't even see it. We didn't see it, but he acknowledged his mistake. It's sportsmanship at its best.
Definitely good sportsmanship there by the Brazilian. Two sides that are battling on pitch, but off pitch, you can sure bet that these guys are all friends. Niels Panovic sets it up for Kolb. Kolb hits it towards George Schuch, takes George Schuch out of the play. Cristiano Velho sets it up for Paulo. Paulo with a long strike down, makes it past Jörg Mueller. Christian Luve tries to get to it. Another Brazilian point. Brazil on 19, Germany on 13. This is the set point for Brazil, their second set point of the afternoon. And the Germans for sure they expected a hard match, but not one this hard. They have Brazil against them, they have the crowd against them, they have the weather against them. That sun is shining down on the Germans. Nice soft serve by Niels Panovic. George Schuch stops it. Cristiano sets it up for Paulo. Paulo slams it down towards Jens Kolb. Good setup for Panovic. Panovic hits it. Well, he hit it well into the area, but he made contact with the net. Brazil take the second set. 2-0 for Brazil. This set stands 20 Brazil, 13 Germany, and Brazil coming out on top here.
Well, this was absolutely brilliant fistball by the Brazilians, like the basketball players, and they dominated the game. If you now look at Jerson and you look at the Swiss, very thin, athletic, it changed, the match changed completely. But we are in for the third set.
And George Schuch with that serve, it touched the line, it stayed on play, and we see Niels Panovic with the spike down. George Schuch gets his arm to it, and Paulo Sufert's going to try to send this one over to German territory. Germany getting a setup from Jörg Mueller, and Panovic spikes it down. Coleman is able to save it. Cristiano Velho with the setup for George Schuch. George Schuch slams it down. Sven Varnhorn saves it. Good communication by the Germans, and Niels Panovic's chance. Gerson saves it. Paulo Sufert sets it up for George Schuch. George Schuch looks at the ball, runs up, slams it down, but once again Sven Varnhorn makes a good save for Germany. Jörg Mueller to Niels Panovic. Niels Panovic couldn't get his hand to the ball, and it went under the net.
Again here, the sun on the Brazilian side. He was looking up, he was trying to concentrate on the ball, but he looked right into the sun, and so he couldn't really get it over as he wanted to.
I definitely think that for the Germans to play on this side of the court is not an advantage to them. The sun is against them, and the Brazilian crowd is right behind them, making a lot of noise.
And Niels, being a player on that side, he's looking right into the sun, and the sun gets more and more to the west, so he looks more and more into the sun.
Niels serving towards George Schuch. George Schuch goes out of the way. Gerson saves it. Cristiano Velho with the setup, and George Schuch is going to spike it down. Great spike down. Kolb gets his arm to it. Defender is able to save, and Niels Panovic hits it to the Brazilian side. George Shook with the slam down. Great shot by George Shook, sent it right in between the defenders, and the South Americans get one more point.
George Shook, he just puts it down where he wants to at an incredible speed.
Well, the crowd are clapping and yelling Brazil, and as we look around, a lot of Germans clapping for Brazil too. Definitely good respect from the German side, and a good serve by Niels Panovic. That one went towards Cristiano Velho. Cristiano Velho couldn't stop it, and George Shook now. Shook with the serve. Nice serve there by George Shook. Good defending by the Germans, but Kolb and Jörg Müller couldn't get to the ball, and it went under the net, touched the Brazilian side. Brazil moved to 3 points. Germans stay at 1. Panovic on the serve for Germany. Nice soft serve down the center. Cristiano Velho jumps in. Paulo Sufert sets it up for George Shook, who slams it down. It touched the ground 2 times on that one before Christian Luvic could get to it. Nice Brazilian point. Brazil on 4, Germany on 1. Things continue to look good for Brazil. Top player for Brazil, Niels Panovic on the serve. Niels Panovic takes George Shook out of the play. Cristiano Velho sets it up for Paulo Sufert. Goose slams it down. Jens Kolb gets to it. Sven Varnhorn runs up, gets a long pass to Niels Panovic, who hits it over. Fufi Coleman saves it for Brazil. Paulo Sufert sets it up for the man, George Shook. George Shook with a great hit there. He went up with his right hand, looked like he was going to spike it down, then he put his left hand on there and just sent it to his right-hand side. Niels Panovic couldn't get to it. What a great play by Brazil. That is Brazil attacking at its best.
Germany is taking another timeout, but you can see exactly what happens. It's the actual winners on the Brazilian side is not so much the spiker, but it's the servers that bring him the ball so that he can actually do magic with it. This was now absolutely brilliant. He was running like this. He knew exactly that the ball was over the line, over the net, and he could just pass it, Niels Panovic, and he had no chance to reach it.
Nice. But Brazil is still on top, and Niels Panovic is going to serve for Germany. Good serve there, down the Brazilian right side. Coleman gets a save. Paulo Sufert sets it up for George Shook. George Shook slams that one right down the center towards Jörg Müller. Jörg Müller's hand got in the way of the ball, didn't let it bounce to another German player. Brazilian point. Brazil on 6, Germany on 1. Things looking good for Brazil.
Yes, Brazil is defending absolutely brilliantly, and they provide their spiker with absolute brilliant balls, and the Germans just can't get into play. The Brazilian side is so confident in playing, it's incredible what we see here.
Niels Panovic on the serve, serves it towards Paulo, but he did make contact with the net there. The ball made contact with the net, another Brazilian point, and they open up a bigger difference now. Brazil, they are on 7, the Germans are on 1, and we do see the ref there just getting the net to stop shaking there. And the net is 6 centimeters wide. Niels Panovic once again on the serve for Germany. It's crucial for Niels not to make mistakes right now. He hits that one down the center. Cristiano Velho is doing a good job defending. Jumped into that one. George Shook with the spike down. Niels Panovic gets his hand to it. Sven Varnhorn couldn't get to it. Another Brazilian point. And Brazil once again start to open up and make that difference. Nice play there by Brazil. The Germans having to talk to their coach. They definitely need to get their things back together.
Yeah, it seems as if Germany hasn't got a single answer. They are exchanging players now. They bring in Jan Hofrichter and they take out Jens Kolb, the captain, and we'll see if this makes a difference.
A good serve there by Jörg Müller, but Paulo Sufert was able to make the save, and we see Fufi come up for the spike. Fufi's a defensive player. He usually doesn't come up to spike, but here set up from Jörg Müller. Niels Panovic hits it towards the Brazilian, and Coleman couldn't get to it. Good point for Germany. Germans get their second point of the match. Germany 2, Brazil 8. And the player that just came in for Germany, Jan Hofrichter, born in 1980, so he's only about 23 years old. He does play for MTV Diepenau. George Schuk on the serve once again.
So we've got to now a score of 2-8. This now cut a series of points for Brazil. This is incredible what Georgie did here. He was indicating his head hitting down the line, and he put it right on Jörg Muller's feet, and it's another point for Brazil.
Great point for Brazil. Nice serve there. Jörg Müller just couldn't save it the way he would have liked to, and it's now Jörg Müller getting ready to serve for Germany. Nice hit down the middle. Cristiano Velho's doing a good job defending today. George Schuk hits it to Paulo Sufert. Paulo's going to slam this one into the German side. Mistake there by the Germans. He hit it with the top of his arm. The number 3, the player that just came in, Yan. And Brazil's on top once again. They're on 10 points. They need 10 points to close out this game, the whole match, and be world champions once again. Germany's on 2.
Well, I'm afraid nerves are running very high. Jan Hofrichter is definitely not behaving in a sporting way. That is just a case of nerves. One can realize that. But it's a great pity something like that happens.
A serve there by Jörg Müller to Coleman. Paulo Sufert sets it up for George Schuk. George Schuk gets a good touch on the ball. And Christian Ludwig jumps down and gets it. Hofrichter brings it up for Panavig. Panavig with the spike down, but Cristiano Velho is on fire. Coleman gets it back, and it'll be George Schuk once again to attack for Brazil. Perfect ball to George Schuk. He gets a good curve there. No Germans were by it. The closest one was Jörg Müller, who just went to the ground. Great play by Brazil. Brazil move on to 11.
Well, it seems there is nothing the Germans can do right, and everything that the Brazilian team goes 100%. A ball like that, it is actually not possible for any human being to run in one direction and hit it in the other direction, but Georgie just did that now. He was playing it over the shoulder onto the other side, and Jörg was just not able to take it. Okay, Jörg the serve, and he put it right next to...
he put it right past Cristiano Velho.
He put it right on, and brilliantly, it was a point for Germany.
Good point for Germany. Germany's third point. Brazil's already on 11. That's a really big difference. The Germans have a long road if they want to win this third set and stay alive in this match. But George Schuk, the man that's on fire with his Brazilian side, up to serve. George Schuk sends it down the middle. Sven Varnhorn gets his fist to it, but it bounces too many times on the ground. Great play by Brazil. Brazil on 12, 8 points away from their second world championship. See a lot of support behind Jörg Müller for the Brazilians. Jörg Müller has to have a cool head here. He's on the serve. Serves it towards Paulo Sufert, who makes a pretty good save. Fufi comes up. George Schuk is going to slam this one down. George Schuk did say that he didn't touch the ball. Again, we see that good Brazilian sportsman conduct. Really good conduct there by the Brazilians. He said, I didn't touch the ball. German point.
George is on the serve. We'll see what happens.
George on the serve. George, the player who dyed his goatee blue. Blue is part of the Brazilian flag, and he slams this one down. Sven Varnhorn tries to make the save. Christian Louve passes back. Niels Panavig's going to hit this one into the Brazilian territory. Cristiano Velho gets the ball. Paulo Sufert's going to set up for George Schuk. George Schuk runs up, looks at the ball, takes the spike down. Christian Louve gets to it. Jörg Müller. Great play by Niels Panavig. What a great play there. It looked like he was going to spike, but he just left that one for the Brazilians. Nice play.
Bluffed with the one hand and put it over with the other one. This is what it's all about. The same tactics as George was using in the previous set.
Nice play there by the Germans. Germany on 5, Brazil on 12. And George Schuk on the serve once again as the Brazilians yell, ole, ole, ole. Nice serve there by George Schuk. He hit that one kind of really on the soft spot. That it was the soft spot of the court. It bounced twice on the ground. Brazil on 13, Germany on 5. Brazilians need 7 more points.
would be a long way for Germany to win this set. 8 points difference is actually not to be kept on a team, opponent team like the Brazilians.
Jörg Müller with the serve. George Schuck taken out of the play. He did make the save. And Fufi, his second time coming up for the attack. But the Germans were able to run in with Christian Louvet and get it back. Cristiano Velho sets it up for George Schuck, who slams it down. Great attack there by Brazil. Makes it right past Sven Varnhorn. No German player could get to it. Brazil on top here. They're on 14 points now. Germany on 5. Huge difference, 9 points.
It was a big tactical mistake the Germans made. They all came forward, which is quite normal. But the ball that was taken over by Sven just did not go back into the defense, so he came back too fast, and this is of course brilliantly.
Good serve there by Jörg Müller, but Cristiano Velho also on fire, gets it. And Gerson sets it up for George Schufert, who slams that one down. What a shot there by George Schufert. He hit that one on a soft spot, a really nice, hard, strong hit there on the ball, and it didn't even bounce on the ground, it just rolled.
He's got the adrenaline pumping on this type of match. It is just brilliant. 10 points different on a class teams like this is actually incredible.
Rainier, now we hear the Brazilian crowd yelling, "Bicampeão, bicampeão." Bicampeão means two-time world champion. Brazil walking that way. Gerson gets the save. George Schuck is going to hit this one back in there. And we do see Cristiano Velho running towards it, just going to send it back into German territory. Christian Louvet gets it for Germany. Jörg Müller sets it up for Varnhorn, actually for Panavig. Panavig slams it down. Coleman gets a good save there. Nice setup by Paulo, and George Schuck hits it into German territory. Sven Varnhorn defends once again. Jörg Müller gets the balls. Panavig hits it right on the line. A good German point there.
A very good German point, a very important one at this time of play. But I doubt if they'll be able to break the winning streak of the Brazilians. They are so fired up, it's just incredible. They can do what they like. It is just a success.
Well, Brazil having one of their best matches of this World Championship, in Germany on 6, Brazil on 15. Brazil definitely favorites, 5 more points. They'll be world champions once again. Nice serve there by George Schuck, and makes it past Niels Panavig. German Hofrichter, the number 3, tried to jump into it and then went into the crowd. Brazil on 16, 4 more points. They'll be two-time world champions. Great shot there by George Schuck. George Schuck, I'd have to say, one of the best attackers in this World Cup. And Jörg Müller goes up, nice serve. Paulo Sufert got his hand to it. Gerson Sufert sends that one far down. And George Schuck with the attack. Christian Louvet makes a good save for Germany. Jörg Müller is going to set this one up for Panavig. Panavig takes his time, runs up, spikes it down, takes George Schuck out of this one. Cristiano Velho with the setup for Paulo. Paulo goes up, slams it down. Sven Varnhorn makes the save for Germany. Jörg Müller is going to set it up for Panavig once again. Panavig slams it. Cristiano Velho with the save. Paulo Sufert. George Schuck. Great shot there by George Schuck in between two Germans, Jörg Müller and Sven Varnhorn. Good Brazilian point, and as Brazil got that point, the Brazilian fans start saying goodbye to Germany. The traditional Brazilian song, just saying that the time has come and we have to say goodbye. Brazil on 17, Germany on 6. Can they come back from this one, Rainer?
Very, very unlikely. If you look at the tactics of play, if you look at the dejectedness, actually you can see it quite clearly. It's a great pity that a match goes down that way. But here you've got it. Don't throw it away. Jörg Müller, he really put one on the white line, and a good point for Germany. But as you were asking me just now, I doubt that this could be turned around.
Well, it's going to be really hard for the Germans, but Jörg Müller at least gets that good serve. Really nice serve, made it right past Paulo Sufert and Fufi. George Schuck once again on the serve. George Schuck 3 points away from his second world title. Takes his time. Good serve there towards Niels Panovic. Germans running towards it. Sven Varnhorn saves it, and it's going to be Jörg Müller. Good spike down. George Schuk gets his arm to the ball. Christian Louvalu hits it over. Almost a point there for Brazil. Christian Louvalu saved Germany there, and Jörg Müller's going to try to attack once again. He gets a spike down, but Christian Louvalu on fire. Good save there. Nice setup for George Schuk. Great play by George Schuk. Christian Louvalu tried to get to that one in Brazil on 18. 2 points away from their second world title.
Again, a brilliant variation in the game. Everybody was waiting for the firing down the line. No ways. He put down a soft ball in the middle.
Brazilian fans saying goodbye once again, and I think the Germans may be affected by the sun now. They may be really tired. That does definitely make a difference. Cristiano Velho with the save. Paulo Suford with the setup. George Schuk hit that one. Niels Panovic trying to attack. Good save by Paulo Suford. Coleman Fufi comes up. George Schuk is going to slam this one down. Could this be Brazil's 19th point? Nice curve to the ball, and it is Brazil's 19th point. Brazil 1 point away from being two-time world champion. Brazil coming out on top. I think Brazil going to take this one.
Well, there is no argument about it. We've got a new old world champion. Let's see what the last ball or second last ball will bring.
Brazilians already yelling, two-time world champion. Cristiano Velho with the save. German point. Germans get their 8th point here, but the Brazilians are sure they've got this one.
Oh yes, they've got it, but it still was a German point.
Brazilian fans still getting hosed down there with some water. We have the band playing. Everybody's excited. And I think even the Germans now are looking at Brazil and saying, well, they deserve this. They're playing a great match. We already see a lot of pictures getting taken. The whole team, the bench side of the team, and a good serve by George Schuk. Sven Varnhorn gets the save. Christian Louvalu is going to set it up for Niels Panovic, the number 2. Panovic slams it down, and it hits the net. Brazil, two-time world champion. Brazil once again beat the Germans, and the Germans applaud. But we have the crowd running in. Brazil, two-time world champions in 1999. They won against Germany. They have done that once again. Brazil, champions of the world of 2003. What do you have to say about the match, Rainier?